been out and about meeting people, getting to know unique places and see more of our country, and knowing that even in other countries, you go somewhere, you see something, it's like, wow, France likes us, okay.
Yeah, and that's the fun part, is that it's kind of a Spongebob world, so you go places where, countries where we're not even the voices that they're hearing because it's dubbed into another language, but, Bill Farberbuck and I were walking down the street in Paris, and we saw way up at the top of a building, we saw somebody had painted plankton onto a building, like way up there, like, how and why did that happen in Paris, that literally, we just saw that, but,
my mom was in Ireland. My mom's a huge fan.
yes, she is.
Right?
That always helps when your mom likes what you like. That helps.
But when she was in Ireland on vacation and they brought a menu and it had the Spongebob characters on it, she was like, what?
I'm stealing the menu as like a purse.
That's exactly what happened. She brought it home to me.
Yeah, like Carolyn said, the people that you get to meet, that's the gift. It's all about people, so the gift of the people that I've gotten to work with alongside for 20 years, and also just the people you meet and the stories you hear after 20 years. SpongeBob is meaningful to people, like, wow, SpongeBob got me through this hard time, or I was sick when I was a kid, or my kid was in the hospital and SpongeBob made him laugh. Like, just unexpected things like that that just blow you away and you go, wow.
And that was one of our responses as well from the audience. And so thank you very much to everybody that filled out a card. But that was something they said where they didn't necessarily have a question, but they wanted to let you both know that SpongeBob was highly important because of a lot of those reasons. So is that something that you hear just voiced often as you guys are traveling?
Yeah. I know, interestingly enough, there's an animator, and I'm embarrassed I can't think of her name right now, who's working on the new feature. And she grew up in a different culture. And she started crying when she was talking to me that where she grew up, there weren't any female characters where the women did things. The fact that Sandy was a scientist, and that she did karate, and that she challenged herself, and that she was in with the guys doing what she said, she didn't have any role models in her country, and how amazing that was for her. And that blew my mind. Here, we're so lucky. It didn't cross my mind that it would be that impactful to somebody. And then she's working on a movie, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
amazing.
and she's got a big job on the movie. And that's the thing. If you grow up in a culture like that, Sandy's a very brave character, right? She comes from Texas. She goes to a whole different environment where she doesn't know anybody and nobody's like her. It's funny that on our show, the fish out of water is actually a mammal. Well, I guess Pearl is technically a mammal too, right? She's a whale. So there's two fish out of two mammals in the water. But stories like that. And yes, we do hear it all the time, but it never gets old. There's just endless variations on it, and it's so nice to know that this silly thing you can do for a living that's fun, and you're just trying to make funny stuff that makes people laugh, and you're still trying to keep it going after 20 years and find new wrinkles in the stories and everything. I mean, we all have a few more wrinkles than we did 20 years ago.
Oh, we don't age.
But that's the amazing thing, that there's just endless variations on it. And I always think of how few actors or people in entertainment get to be on a show that lasts long enough where you get to have that impact. Like, we just feel lucky and fortunate all the time,
Basically, yeah.
And very grateful to Steve Miller for making it all up and his crazy ending.
Right. Now, Carolyn and Tom, the question that I told you that we were going to talk about when we were still backstage, and they seem surprised that people care about this, but I got this more than once. They want to know how you got into the business of voice acting.
Well, I think we're both kind of anomalies in that sense, right?
Sure.
I was dancing with a company in Chicago. I was with a jazz company, and a gentleman who used to take the company class one day said, "You have an interesting sound, and we've been auditioning for this line of stuffed animals. We cannot find anybody. Do you want to come read?" And I said, "Sure." And then I went home and I was like, I have no idea what he means. I don't know what reading is. I don't know what this is, but I will go and try it. And I booked the job, and then one thing led to another.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know it was a career.
Yeah, I was a dancer too, Chip and Dale. I would just wear a bow tie.
You got some cool moves, very cool moves.
Hardly any tuxedo. I would do bachelorette parties and totally wrong. But like Carolyn, I came into it from something else, I had been a stand-up comedian and made a living at that, you know, doing on camera, which I know you did
Yeah.
on camera acting too. But that whole time, I was aware of voiceover because I loved cartoons as a kid, and my heroes were the people who did the voices in cartoons. Mel Blanc, Dawes Butler, you know, Mel Blanc is the master. He did Bugs and Daffy and Tasmanian Devil and Tweety Bird and Sylvester, like practically all the Looney Tunes, almost all of them. And you know, people like Dawes Butler and Don Messick and June Foray, you know, who's Rocky the Flying Squirrel, and Natasha on a little show called Boyhood, or Rocky and Boyhood. And those were the people that I wanted to be then. Like I thought that seemed like it had to be the best job in show business. And I was actually right for once in my life. Yeah, so I did all that other stuff and started auditioning for voiceovers and not having much luck getting into it. And then finally, because of stand-up, a guy named Joe Murray was creating a show for Nickelodeon called Rocco's Modern Life. Right? I'm seeing some Rocco stuff in the stores here. Rocco's got it back. And the guy that was the voice of Rocco, Carolyn Summers Rocky, was a stand-up comedian too. And Joe Murray said, hey, is there anybody that I should be hearing for this part of Heifer, the cow that hangs out with the steer that hangs out with Rocco? And Carlos said, oh, this guy Tom Kenny, you know, he's been trying to break in a voiceover. He's you know, he's entertaining, he can do a bunch of voices. And that's when I was off to the races after that. But it's funny, we got into it in these bizarre ways. You know, Rocco's Modern Life was a very big show connected to Spongebob because Stephen Hillenburg started out on Rocco, Mr. Laurance, Doug Laurance, that does the voice of Plankton, started out on Rocco, and a whole bunch of the people that make Spongebob, producers, you know, Vince Waller, and some other people, started out on Rocco's Modern Life. And that was a training ground for a lot of people that wound up on Spongebob. It was like our first gig.
Right, and I think the thing for me, I'm at, you know, a mom of a certain age. I feel you. And I think that it also, since a lot of us grew up and we were like big fans of like SpongeBob or maybe watching Powerpuff Girls, I think that was part of the reason why we're so easily able to transition into SpongeBob.
So once again, the day is safe. Thanks to Shaggy.
But it was very soothing because you were at that age because your kid was in charge of all of your TV programming. And then SpongeBob comes along like, oh, finally something that we can both watch that's not garbage. You know, because you're at that in-between phase, and I like that we have kind of variety of ages that are here. So clearly, there's some adults that are big fans of SpongeBob, and then we have the kids as well. And it is one of those shows that everybody can sit down and have something that they think is fun about, right?
Well, I know our writers write to make themselves laugh, totally. So they don't cater, they don't think just kids, they're thinking about cracking themselves up. Yeah.
And I love what you said, Shannon, but I'd be lying if I did say that there are occasionally parents that come up to me and go, your show drives me
Oh yeah. Well, we get those too all the time. It's on all the time.
Now you've got a face to go with a headache.
Well, as you guys have been going through your careers, other than being on SpongeBob, what else have you guys really enjoyed voicing? What's your favorite characters out there?
That
That you guys have done. That you
Yeah, I played Cindy on Jimmy Neutron. Oh, Jimmy. You're not the smartest one. I'm actually the smartest one. Yeah, so I loved her.
Another Howard,
Because I guess I seem to, what's so funny is when I did on camera, I always played dumb women. Always. I always played
That's why
ditzy women.
voiceover is better.
And then in voiceover, I'm always the smart, empowered girl. So yay, voiceover. Resident Evil 4, yeah.
If I was doing on camera, like voiceover is so great and me so much more fun than on camera stuff. Like you're saying about, you know, you don't really have a choice about the type of women you play. Like I would just be playing like dorky dads, you know what I mean? That's what I would be on TV. Or maybe the guy on the Squarepants police team that's really good at hacking. Ask the nerd to do it, you know? But like with voiceover, I could be anything, monsters and, you know, and gosh, speaking of voices that I like, you know, Heifer was my first, so he's really special to me. And in the mail, I hope my girls was cool. And that made on the hot girls, he just really was cool. And I was dog, a cat dog, and man, so many, all kinds of crazy voices, man. But those are probably my tops.
So,
Spyro the Dragon in the video games, it was fun.
So when you guys are working, I know some of us may see this when we like do our deep dives on YouTube. What's it like as you were doing the creation of SpongeBob? Because I know sometimes everybody's in a different studio, and then sometimes everybody does it in collaboration. What's it like with SpongeBob?
Oh, we do it like a play. We've always done it where everybody's in the room together and reading off of the, feeding off of each other's energies and improvising back and forth and being total dorks.
To me, that's part of the secret and the key to SpongeBob on a subatomic level. Like, people tell me, wow, the show still seems really fun, and you guys still seem like you're really having fun on it. I go, oh yeah, we're not we're really glad to still be employed. This is the longest I've ever held down a job, I'll tell you that. And but it's, we're all in a room together, like Carolyn said, and that's unusual these days. Most shows don't do an ensemble recording for everybody's day. It's kind of harder, more
You can't
difficult.
schedule
Schedule everybody. The engineers got to set up different mics. There's no walls between us, so you have to make sure that you're not talking at the same time as the other person. Even if your voices are going to be on top of each other later, you have to leave that space so that you're can edit and layer them on top of each other. So, it's a little more math, but it's always more fun. And the majority of shows, we go to a lot of other shows that it's so much more fun. And like I show up for a lot of these other jobs, it's a blast and everything, it's a great gig, but you show up and then you're just kind of in a room by yourself. And you have to you gotta have to fake the energy because you're going, okay, the person that will be reading this line before mine, they're going to be up here, or going to be reacting to this thing. And so you're just sort of in the vacuum doing it.
Video games are like
really
that.
good guessers, but I would much rather, when you get Patrick, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, Plankton, Karen, Mrs. Puff, Pearl, everybody in that recording room, it is so fun. And it's like, and people that come in to watch, like people that are visiting and stuff will occasionally come in, and they're just, I just love the effect it has on them. It's like, wow. You see them on the other side of the glass, and they're looking at us, and their heads are just going.
I think sometimes it's too much fun. I think sometimes people are like, you guys, back to work. What are you doing? But Tom now is our voice director, which is amazing too. Because after all these years, we used to have other people direct. Well, Steve obviously directed in the early days as the creator, and he would sit in the room with us and be totally part of the team, which is also rare, which I think made a big difference early on.
Oh yeah, he didn't act like the big boss.
No, he loved being with us and not on the other side of the glass. But now it's really fun having Tom as our director because he's known us 20 years. And he knows what we can do, and he knows where we can go, and he just sets us free. And
it's not like there's a whole lot of directing involved. You know what I mean? It's like, Carolyn, let me tell you about Sandy, okay? Let me mansplain Sandy to you.
Glad you brought that up because that leads to a couple of questions that we got from our audience. So one, how much input do you have about the characters now versus the way that the characters were created when they were created?
I don't feel like I ever had input. You had input. I don't think that. I had lots of ideas. Okay. She had lots of ideas about what she should be doing. But I don't know.
Generally our suggestions are about performance, where we'll do something a little different than they had envisioned it during the storyboard pitch, before the actors came in. And like I said, we know our characters really well, and so I think we have pretty good leeway over our characters. And then in terms of actual story, we get a script and a storyboard, and you come in, and that's when you record. But I've actually suggested story ideas in the past that they've taken, and done. Like, because after 20 years, they're looking for ideas. You know what I mean? They're ready to lose. I'm so glad I'm not a writer on this show.
It must be so
20
hard.
years, 8 zillion episodes, right? And they're like, okay.
And none of them are supposed to be too similar to another one.
Yes, we did that in season 2. How about we did that in season 4? I've got an idea for season 5. So then it keeps, I hear the writers having different combinations of characters. We haven't seen Pearl and Mrs. Puff together too much, you know what I mean? Or we haven't had Squidward, we haven't seen Squidward and Pearl alone ever. How about Squidward is babysitting for Pearl and she's too old to need a babysitter and she's mad about it, Like, that's when it's coming up. So it's a lot of it is just kind of moving the pieces around in different combinations. It's just what haven't we done before?
And it is fun. If something's not working in the room, they'll let us play and try to work it out. And that's also a rare thing. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, just try to find where the laugh is. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes stuff
And
doesn't work. It doesn't work as well in reality as it did on paper.
Because that's kind of a hybrid of a couple of questions that we got, where they want to know how much you have your characters ad lib, or is it very, very structured in that part?
Both.
Okay.
Because we usually do 3 takes on each line, generally, and then some lines will do 500 takes, but usually it's 3, and the first 2 are as written, and the last one is a crazy pass.
Yeah.
The last one would we get to just play whatever we want.
How do you improv in this setting? And how do you work with animators and directors? And how do you do that if you want to be able to improv scene?
Well, it's easy for us because they animate to our voice tracks. So if we ad lib and it winds up making it into the episode, they just animate to that because they, you know, the recordings are done first. And so, yeah, it probably drives them a little crazy. It's easy.
Like, how are we supposed to get Spongebob in here?
Yeah, I mean, we do, you know, everybody, like I said, knows their characters really well and is very comedically adept, you know. So Squidward's a really funny person in real life. Roger is Bill's a funny guy. Mr. Laurance, everybody's funny. Everybody's humorous on the show, and it really is very collaborative. So it's not like one of those situations like you hear about on live action shows where somebody is counting their lines to make sure that another character doesn't have more lines than them, you know?
Celebrities.
We're all like it's all like just about the finish.
And it's fun too with like the ancillary characters, because it's the same. We have Dee and Serena and Jill sometimes who play like fish number 2 or all the random people in the town. And you can also just say, hey, who wants to do fish number 3? Like sometimes we have extra people.
And sometimes they're sort of meant to be kind of forgettable, disposable characters, but the actor brings something really funny to it, and they wind up coming back in other episodes, right? And yeah, our what should I say, utility infielders that we have on our show, Dee Bradley Baker, Serena Irwin, are really, really good. And you know, my wife is actually also the voice of
Karen.
She does Karen, the computer Clancy's wife. I really like her. And it was named after Karen Hillenberg, Stephen Hillenberg's wife, and she's very good Plankton. So it's a very incestuous place.
And they're not married, even though we have the same last name.
Oh yeah, I wondered that. I didn't Google that.
But yeah, so it's just everybody's. It really does feel like a team effort. Nobody's an egomaniac. Everybody's just
Whatever's
trying to
making
make
funny.
whatever will make funny and make a good episode.
And I know you already had 3 jokes about how there's like 1.5 million episodes out there. Do you have a favorite episode, each of you?
Oh man,
It's gotta be hard to remember.
It changes all the
it
time.
does. You're right, Carolyn.
Right? My first was Teen Tree Dome was my favorite for a long time because that was the first one I ever recorded. So that one has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, me too.
But the anniversary special we just did, the birthday
Yeah.
special, is one of my new favorites because we played it a whole new way.
Yes. And I haven't seen the birthday
I
vlog,
haven't seen
yet. So I was like, hey, when is the premiere? And they're like, last night.
Oops. Guess I can always have my T-Bell.
You know my old because I still call it Tebow.
Like everything becomes a man around time.
But band geeks, right?
No, I love a lot of those early episodes like Band Geeks, and that's a great one. And you know what's funny? Sometimes I don't remember the titles. I just have favorite bits from episodes, and I can't always remember what bits they're in. But a lot of times the fans do.
Okay, so let's play that game next. So first of all, what's your favorite bit? And then you guys can let us know. Because I'm sure there's somebody new that'll tell us that's minute 15 of episode 222 or something.
Okay.
So what's your favorite bit?
This is one that people come up to me and ask me to write on 8 by 10s all the time, and they also want me to say, you do like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward? Just one bite!
Now he's in the
Number one!
Dirty Dan!
I know the answer to this one, maybe you do.
Imagination.
Alien box, that one I knew. So yeah, the fans of it, like, they get so in the meantime, he's been recording a whole bunch of new ones. But yeah, the Fallout special was fun. There's some live action scene in it, you know, a scene in a diner where the characters come up above the surface and interact with kind of weird meta-human versions of themselves. And so I was just like, that's weird, you know. And, you know, and the actors kind of play the variation on their animated characters. So that was kind of fun being a live action cartoon.
It was kind of odd too. It was fun and strange at first.
Hey,
Strange at first or strange with the whole thing?
Right. Pretty much.
Speaking of fans, where's Nick Sullivan?
I'm right here, Tom.
Hi, Nick Sullivan drew me this beautiful drawing of me and Carolyn and himself in the middle. What a great artist, huh?
Give me a round of applause.
And he's got a really awesome mom named Shirley too that's out there.
Hi, Shirley.
So there she is. Yeah, Nick and Chris, man. Love you, baby.
The other thing that's really fun about the Spongebob fandom, you know, and I'll be honest, you know, a lot of our fandoms are kind of toxic. Spongebob is all about love and happy feelings, right? You guys are right. So again, thank you guys for being a good fans. Thank you.
That there's so much, there's toxic fandom, and there's just general toxicity in the world now, you know? And I think that's why SpongeBob retains his meaning and why people still enjoy it. It's just pure silliness, 11 minutes, 22 minutes of just silly, bright colors, jumping around, crazy steel guitar music, you know? Everything about it is kind of like bright and happy. And it's not phony because I mean that all came from Steve. He really was that, you know. And you know, I've said it before for this 20th anniversary, like playing a character that's so positive has really rubbed off on me as a person, like my personal philosophy. Like, not that I was ever a gloomy Gus, but you know, you kind of have to walk the walk when you're this guy on this show. When you're playing that square guy, you know, you can't be a Squidward, man. You know, so
Squidward is Squidward.
So the fans keep enjoying it, and we keep enjoying making it, and they keep enjoying watching it, and we keep enjoying making it more. Hopefully that goes on for another 50 years.
Well, that was one of the questions too. If the two of you could do this for another 20 years, would you?
Oh, completely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Roger Squidward said that he hopes the show lasts slightly longer than the pyramids. Thanks for flying the color, by the way. Nice letter.
Oh my gosh. I was telling them they have, I don't have pineapples, but I have lemons.
Did you have pineapples here? Where's your pineapples here?
You know, I did not have enough time to prepare, but next time, when you guys come back for the 2025, the 25th anniversary.
We'll just change the lyrics.
Lives in a lemon under the sea.
That's one of our other questions. What is your favorite song that you guys have had on the show?
Well, I like the one from the Texas episode that is all around. Wish I was back in Texas. The ocean's no place for a squirrel. And she yokels Carolyn. And again,
last night, I went out to see some friends of mine playing a band in Minneapolis, and up on the wall, coming in the next couple of days, I think, is Junior Brown.
Oh, really?
Who played that song, right? He played that song. He's going to do this song, Fine Line, First Street. Yeah, Junior Brown. He's an amazing country guitarist, like ridiculous. And yeah, I was like, wow, Miss Carolyn was here. And, but I like the Best Day Ever because it's kind of a philosophy, you know, where every day you
So
wake
people
up
are
and-
singing already, so I feel like you sung that song a lot.
Yeah, SpongeBob wakes up, and even if it's not the best day ever, you try to make it really good, and then sometimes it's an epic fail, and then you go to bed and you try to make the next day the best day ever, right? That's kind of what life's about. What keeps us going is humans and fish.
All things of water. So I have this one. This one's for Tom. How did it ever occur to you to hit your own throat for SpongeBob's laugh?
Well, I would have hit somebody else's throat, but that would be arrested. show, the laugh came early on, even before Steve pitched it to Nickelodeon. He showed it to me before anyone at Nickelodeon ever saw it. He said, I'm thinking of selling the show. This is the main character. I really would love if you would be this guy. And then he's got, he showed me Sandy, he showed me drawings of all the characters. And we just kind of started to try to hit on the voice. And out of that came the laugh. And I think how it came up was that we were just trying to think of like, what would his laugh sound like, an undersea creature laugh? And then we started thinking of like dolphins, like porpoises when they come up front of that thing that they do. So we tried to do something that kind of sounded like a porpoise, like, yeah, that So it really came from a dolphin. So, or a porpoise, I'm not sure, but yeah, one of those. So it was all, with Steve, he was so into undersea creatures and the undersea world. That's what he studied and was studying before he got into animation. So with Steve, all roads led to the ocean. He was an avid surfer, really into ocean conservation and all that. So with Steve, a lot of the answers are ocean-based.
Well, when I was doing some of my reading and talking about your creator and Steve, it does seem like he was very interested in creating a space that was safe for everybody. Like, if it was overly popular, then he kind of would direct away from it for particular reasons. So that's kind of the experience that you have when you're working with him on the show?
Yeah, he was so protective of his baby. And he had such a clear vision of what he wanted it to be. And he definitely wanted everything to be accessible to all. I think he was just such a beautiful human.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I didn't fully realize at the time how brilliant his idea was. And another reason that I think SpongeBob has that staying power to stick around for 20 years is that the world that SpongeBob lives in isn't dated.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's not laptops in it. They still use record players. Like we raise a record player over a shell, like a Victrola, and you know what I mean? Like there's some technology, but not really. And another show that did that, I realized, was the Bruce Timm Batman animated series of the 80s. Also had that, like where you couldn't really tell what time it was appearing in. So it doesn't date, like people go, look at those clothes, how 70s is that or whatever. Like, it's timeless.
I mean, and Carolyn, is that the other reason why you think that you guys pick certain topics versus trying to steer away from being overly political or overly anything that's fair in a particular place?
Yeah, he wanted it to be Bikini Bottom all in. He didn't want the outside world to influence our world ever.
Yeah, although there are parallels, right? That can happen. Like a show like The Magic Conch has something to say about people having faith in something or not. You know what I mean? And
right, squirrel jokes felt a little like our take on racism, or
squirrel jokes was very much almost when SpongeBob starts making insensitive jokes about squirrels and he gets a big laugh up with it, so he keeps on doing it. Like there might be something overtly political in that, but the writers, I don't think they're ever thinking of it 100% in those terms. But the parallels are there. And a lot of times the unruly, angry mob of Bikini Bottom acts in this kind of unthinking mob mentality kind of way that feels very sadly contemporary to me now. And
he was also
so it's not there, but it's there.
Right, and early on too, we had a lot of celebrities who wanted to be on their show, right? Because their kids loved it, and so they would call and assume probably that Steve would want them. He didn't want them. And that always made me laugh too.
Yeah, these big movie stars that are pages are calling, such and such wants to be on the show, and Steve would go, yeah, we kind of have our cast. I don't know what I do with them. And they're all going to be going,
He's like, no. But it does seem interesting because once you're in that, we'll call it that Nickelodeon crowd. You guys have been on a lot of those different shows on Nickelodeon.
yeah.
So is it that, they basically have a team that they always tap first? And so it is harder to break into it? If, do you guys have the same producers, the same director, the same B-Squad people?
No. I mean, sometimes. A lot of people, actually, interestingly enough, Jenny Monica, who's our producer now, started as a reception front desk.
Yeah, she's a producer, and she was a receptionist. Hello, Nickelodeon Animation, right? That was her. And then Steve, she had a lot on the ball. She was really smart and nice. And Steve saw something in her and just kind of moved her along, you know what I mean? And he did that with other people too, you know. If Steve saw something in you, he made sure that he had opportunities. But in terms of like, are you asking if the same producers and writers work on every Nickelodeon show?
Right, how do they hop around from one animated series to another?
You know, I guess some people go from series to series, but really animation is so labor intensive, and it's, you know, when you're on the crew of something like that, you're just racing the clock all the time, including on SpongeBob. And so you probably could not work on more than one animated series at a time. I guess there's, you know, maybe the occasional super motivated producer guy that can have a bunch of balls in the air, and then he checks on his traps once in a while. But in terms of like writers, animators, artists, man, it's really labor intensive. Now us, since SpongeBob is only one afternoon a week for us when they record, we have the opportunity to do other shows for both Nickelodeon and other networks, and you know, so we're, you know, to answer, I guess, one of those earlier questions about what being a voice actor is like, a lot of your life is auditioning and just trying to get work, and then more often than not getting. So, you know what I mean? So that's what you got to do. You have all the fun and games of the shows that you've already got on, and that's a blast. And then you go and get your ego battered, you know, when you get really close on other things and go get it. Like, you were saying that you do a lot of like,
I do like
advertising. Give me a little sample. Like you did back
well, if you call the voicemail here, Nickelodeon Universe, that's me. So I can do all the boring stuff, like, hi, press 1. You know, kind of thing. Welcome to Optum Health, where you'll do your life's best work. I don't do anything fun.
Do you know my irritating laugh? Please press 2.
Can you not do that? Because you're going to get me fired from one of the gigs I do have. Don't take all the boring work that I do as well.
I will say, when I started, animation was very hard to break into in a lot of ways. People audition for years and years and years, and it's really hard now. And I never understood. Everybody would say, well, your audition was great, and then I'd never book. And I was like, well, if it was so great, why am I not booking? What's the deal? Now I understand 20 years in, it's because when they book you on a show, you need to maintain that character for possibly 20 plus years. They need to know you well enough to trust you that you'll be able to keep playing that same character. A lot of people can play a character for a short amount of time, like on a video game, and then never play it again. So that's part of it, is in the industry you need to be seen enough and people to be comfortable with you and trust you before I think they book you.
Yeah, and that's always risky when they're using real kids as actors, right? Like my wife is also on Loud House, right? And I think they're on their third Lincoln Loud. Because you know, kids mature, so like, that kid can have that voice. You know, 1 week comes in after the hiatus, he's like, okay, we're ready. Uh-oh, you see a little hair sticking out here?
I think it's that, you know, and not separate, but I talked with Jeremy Shada from Adventure Time, and he was saying that eventually his older brother had, like, he's Finn.
That's right.
His older brother had auditioned for that part, but by the time they got
did the
together,
pilot.
I did the pilot, and by the time they actually got the show together, he had aged out of the role.
Right.
So his younger brother got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Luckily, the ice cream stung at all, and he's still all the time. My job was safe.
And I think that's really interesting because one of the questions that we got was how do you break into the industry if you want to be a voiceover? And so it sounds like you guys are saying it really depends on what you want to do in the industry.
Right. I would say, like any industry, you work really hard and someone will notice eventually.
You hope, right?
You hope. You know?
Yeah, you just grab a glove and get in the game. Like
Right.
I tell people, like at Comic Cons and stuff, when people say, oh, you know, I want to be a voice actor,
Right.
what do you do? Like, well, first you gotta just do it, just start doing it, and that might mean either doing your own animation or getting a hold of somebody else whose animations that you like online. You're like, hey, if you do something, because everything's out there, right? There's all these
Right.
really talented animators that have their own YouTube channels and stuff, and they haven't really been discovered by the Nickelodeons and Cartoon Networks and Disney's yet. And so that's an opportunity that we did not have, right? Where you can
Right.
just hook up with other people like that and just try to get something going, and then hopefully it gets noticed and the big boys do greenlight as a
Right.
show or something. But you know, really, it's very random. It's kind of weird, you know, because you're in it. Like, we basically chose a profession for ourselves where we have very little power.
Yeah, none.
The only thing you have control over is your audition. So when I try not to go crazy about any other aspects of the business. It's like, I did an audition, I feel happy with the audition, I recorded a few takes of it, I emailed it out there, and then what happens after that is out of my hands, you know? It's so, you know, that's what you're in charge of, is your own little cog of the machine.
And that lack of control has been incredibly hard for me. Tom knows I'm not a roll with it kind of person. So I started renovating homes on the side because I needed an outlet where I had control. I could tear the thing apart, I could build it up together, and I could make it done, I could put it on the market, and I could sell it.
Yeah.
Done.
Oh, well, so that's one of our questions was, what are your hobbies?
So construction would be my hobby.
As opposed to me, who has never owned a tool in my life. I'm third generation unhandy. My grandmother was bad, my dad was bad. They would actually try and make themselves crazy. It was like in that movie Christmas Story where the dad goes down and tries to wrestle with a furnace, you know? That's what it was like whenever my dad's trying to fix anything. And so I'm like, I'm not going to subject my children to that. I'm Mr. Call guy. I'll make funny voices, make some money, and then I'll pay a guy that knows what he's doing.
Well, I would watch that show. If we had an HGTV show or a DIY show where Carolyn, you did all the breakdown, and then you just came in and went, oh yeah, that's
Nickelodeon, are you listening? Oh my
God. You know what I wanted to do is the animators, a lot of the animators have amazing homes. The artists, they bring all these artists to their homes. Yes.
So they can take a house,
Right.
like even if the architecturally the house itself isn't all that, and they can like turn them into these magical spaces with their artistic talent.
Yeah, like Alan Smart.
Oh.
One of our artists has a tiki bar, like a full-on, like, yeah, it's phenomenal in his basement. It's wild.
But
Yeah.
I have hobbies, but they're not handymanish. You know,
Okay.
like well, I like music a lot, so I have a band that I play called Time Band on High Seas. It's like a 14-piece soul band that just plays
They're
soul
amazing.
music. So because there's 14 people in it, we actually played at Mall of America 10 years ago. We did New Year's Eve where we did all Spongebob songs. But when Time Band on High Seas plays like in a club in LA, we just do a lot of old, soul music and R&B.
So should we find that on YouTube?
I think there's some of it out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And we got some. We play in LA a lot. Like we play a lot of parties and functions and stuff. And then we're playing at Tijuana, Mexico in August. Just because we wanted to. I want to go south of the border and play in Mexico. Those people are having some tough times, man. Let's get out there and make some happy.
Because it does sound like your hobbies are creative adjacent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, you're right.
You also host the wrestling matches.
Oh yes, I know.
Wait, what? I just said on Wiki.
Yeah.
I don't like being a little white guy, So I play the soul music and I go to Mexican wrestling all the time. So I'm a pale Irish guy. I like spicy food. Come on. Yeah, so I go to a lot of lucha libre in Los Angeles. There's a lot of that. So in fact, I'm going out.
Do you do it in a voice? Like, do you have a ring announcer voice?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
Okay. What's your lucha libre ring announcer voice?
In this corner, please welcome the Blue Demon!
I'm very excited, and I'm more handy like you are, so I will be happy to be on your DIY show right now. Because I think that was right. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Or I think what we could do is maybe we can go and do can we remodel people's like bedrooms or their houses?
Oh, I would love to
We could knock down some walls.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that would be
Extreme
really fun.
pineapple makeover.
That would be
And
so
I'll be the guy that's just there to be stupid.
You're the host. Tom, can you paint this? Oh, no.
No, my wife brought any tools into our marriage. She actually had a toolbox. I'm like, okay, glad you got that stuff. Her dad was a contractor. She actually was like, she could build stuff, and I'm just like,
And Serena, who does our incidental voices, is actually a carpenter.
Who?
Serena. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah. Full on.
So basically, what we're saying is that the women of SpongeBob are way more macho than the dudes of SpongeBob.
what do you enjoy better, being a voice actor versus being an on-camera actor? And what do you guys think is cooler? About, what other freedoms do you think you have because you guys are primarily voice actors at this point?
Oh gosh, I think the freedom to not necessarily be recognized is huge. I mean, every once in a while we get recognized by people, but it's not a daily event where somebody's invading your privacy 100%. I live in an area where there's always paparazzi hounding my neighbors, right? And I get walked by and
Little do they know.
so there's a lot of freedom in that, and yet you have a wonderful creative.
So you're trying to indulge in all your scandalous behavior. You never went up on TMZ.
Exactly.
Kidding, she has no scandalous behavior.
Really not.
We're really boring.
I'm very boring.
Yeah.
Role follower.
I got all that. I wish I had worked saying stuff for TMZ there every single time, but there's no there. I would say I touched on it earlier. The best part of being a voice actor as opposed to on camera is that when you're on camera, you're kind of a prisoner of how you look, especially women. My wife is an actress with certain age also. So, what you look like, what your body type is, all of that, it matters, right? But
It defines you.
if you can sound like a character, you're that character.
Right.
You have a big purple Spanish speaking monster. Monsters of our imaginary friend and what am I going to do here?
And I would like get to do that. You get to be monsters, robots, bad guys, good guys. I've been Spider-Man in a theme park attraction. I've been Iron Man, Captain America in animated versions of the Avengers. Nobody's gonna look at me and cast me as Captain America. Wow, look at that physique. Did he throw a shield? All right. So it just opens the world to you. And really, actors just want to act, right? We just want to do stuff and have fun and be characters and lose ourselves in characters. And I think, the number of shades, colors that you have at your disposal as a voice actor is way bigger.
Yeah, it's huge. It's enormous. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be playing Wacky Grandpa
All the time.
all the time.
One of our other questions was, what's your favorite band moment? So when you guys are out and about, your favorite band moment?
I don't know. I think it was funny when we were in Montreal and we had to run down the alley like the Beatles.
Right.
I know that was funny. We were at a comic. What was that? The Just Black Festival, right? And for whatever reason,
Big comedy festival, not
big comedy festival.
movies, TV, stand-up, just it's some of
It's
the
a big
biggest
deal.
stars in the world.
It actually is one, it legit.
Some of the biggest stars on the planet are there.
But the fans went crazy for us, and we had to run to the car. And I was like, us. I'm like, oh, don't you want that guy over there? Like it was just crazy and fun and.
This will never happen again.
It's all this big comic book.
Right. There's certain situations like next week is San Diego Comic-Con, the biggest Comic-Con in the world. When we go to that,
That'll be a big deal.
we're total rock stars. So I always look at that as like an alternate Earth. That's like Earth 2. So like it's an Earth where like I'm a movie star. And then as soon as the Comic-Con's over and we walk inside the convention center, it's back to Earth 1. And people are just going, hey, did you move? You're in my parking spot, jerk, whatever. Like, you don't mean nothing to anybody. But
We have one final question. This was the question that I have the most versions of.
okay.
What is the Krabby Patty scene for?
Wait a minute. For me, the question is, if SpongeBob's been making Krabby Patties for so long and he's the only guy that cooks, why do they need the recipe hanging around for so long?
Because he still doesn't know what it is.
SpongeBob will occasionally need to refer to the recipe because
He can do it 20 more years and he still doesn't know.
Like, I don't know, whatever it is, it must be delicious. If I go back to my favorite fan moment, there's a whole lot of them. Some involve children's hospitals and things like that, and they're pretty affecting stories. But one of the ones that's funny is when we were at, Bill Fagerbach came to my daughter's 7th grade play in school. It's just like a public school in North Hollywood, right? And so this guy, this really big guy, man, with a baseball cap on, like giant, like comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, are you do the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants?" And I go, yeah, that's me. Nice to meet you. And he goes, "Oh, you're SpongeBob." I go, "Yeah, that's Patrick." And he looks, and he goes,
oh my God, you guys actually hang out together? Like in real life?
I go, yeah, me and Bill are friends. And he goes,
Whoa, that's... He starts crying, he goes, that is so cool. I love that you guys really like each other.
it was so meaningful to him that like we actually hung out in real life, you know. There was a trip, and he was like, and also the fact that he was like this big dude, you know, and he like. I just love that moment.
Well, I
Bill was like, Bill, can I get you a remix?
And so I definitely love this last hour, and it's gone so quickly. So a round of applause for Carolyn and Tom. We appreciate all of you being part of this amazing 20th anniversary celebration for Spongebob, but we are also celebrating something else amazing today. So not only is it Tom Kenny's birthday, it is also Georgetta and Katrina's birthday, who are here as well.
There's more of a pile up. We just have a party for some other reason, you know.
We have to make sure you feel special.
We're gonna have to cut some really small pieces of cake.
Well,